If you're an aspiring author or AI-powered writer, this video is going to do two things for you. First, I'm going to pull back the curtain on exactly what I earned in December of 2025. This is a follow-up to my November 2025 video as I am trying to build my publishing business. And I'll show you where that money came from and where I screwed up. Now, second, I'm going to share 5 lessons since we're at the beginning of the year right now that genuinely changed how I think about writing and publishing and running my business, and how I'm using them to make 2026 my best year yet. So this is also going to be a little bit of a reflective video along with talking about my goals for 2026. So if you want to write more books and make more income from your stories and use AI without losing your soul as a writer, stick around. If you don't know who I am, my name is Jason. I'm the Nerdy Novelist, and I help aspiring authors to use AI to write more and better books without spending 10 years staring at a blinking cursor and without sacrificing their creativity. In this video, I'll walk you through my income for last month and then go over the 5 big lessons that I'm taking into 2026 so you can steal what works and avoid my mistakes. So let's start with the numbers and then we'll get into the mindset and strategy shifts. Okay, so we have the last 2 months since I've been tracking all of this data. I did another video going over November's income, so that's we won't go over that here. But 2025 12, aka December, is what we're going over today. And the first thing I start out with is the number of titles published, because that's an important marker to be looking at. We got none in November, but a whopping 16 in December, and I only worked for half of the month because I was on vacation with my family for the holidays. Now, this is just technically true. Okay. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Technically, I got 16. I consider it more like 10 because, first of all, there's only one flagship book in here, one just like full high content book that I released that's in my fictional universe. It was a big release. I did a big thing about it. Or at least it's big for me. I don't have much of an audience yet on my email list, so I won't say it was a big release in terms of the money it made, but it was an important book, very foundational in my universe, so I was really proud to get that out. And then I put out 12 books that were public domain, okay? And technically, those books were actually 6 books. That's why I consider myself to actually having done 10 books instead of 16. Because what I did is I took these 6 public domain books and I created 2 versions of them. One was the original public domain book that had annotations on it, and another was a modern prose version of the same book. So it read a little bit easier for a modern reader to understand what's going on. And so I basically took the same books and published 2 different versions of them. It was really easy to do and just gives me some extra variety in what goes out. I get a trickle of money from all of the public domain books that I do, but given the effort that goes into them, and which is not much, I can churn out a lot of these. They do kind of add up over time. And so I'm going to be consistently putting out a lot more public domain books in the future. So that accounts for 12 of this number. And then there are 3 more left to get to 16. And those were 3 nonfiction books that I published. If you saw my videos about urban fantasy, I put out 3 books that are basically genre analyses. One of them is urban fantasy. One was urban fantasy with a male lead, which is a slightly different genre. And one is one for vigilante crime thriller. So things like Jack Reacher and stuff like that. So I put out those. Those have done really well since I launched them. I'm going to be putting out a lot more genre nonfiction books like that because they're relatively easy for me to create with the setup that I've put together. Very, very in-depth analyses of those books. But anyway, that's a total of 16 books published in December of 2025. And like I said, I actually published these all before I went on vacation. So I really did this in about like 2.5 weeks, which is awesome. All right, so the next category here is Amazon ads. This is my expenses. I'm only using Amazon ads to market my books at the moment. I will branch out to Facebook ads eventually as well. But right now I'm just trying to work with Amazon ads and figure those out. and I'm getting coaching from Brian Cohen right now on that. So I spent a little bit more than I did in November. About $120, not a whole lot. I'm still kind of building this. What I'm seeing so far is very promising, but it's not at the level of just like, oh, this is very clearly profitable, so I should like really increase my budget and just throw money at this thing. It's not quite at that level yet. We're still tweaking things and figuring things out. And I'm learning more about Amazon ads and all that goes into that. So we're still cautious here with a fairly low budget of $120 for the month. But so far that has actually done really well. You can see that my fiction revenue went up from $77 in November to $130 in December. That might not sound like much, but this is almost entirely a result of running these ads. That it's increased. Now, these ads are also going to nonfiction, so not all of this budget is resulting in this 130. But it's actually nice to know that if I subtract the Amazon ads from just the fiction, it's still technically profitable, although not by much, right? So that's just nice there. All right, so nonfiction, I obviously do a lot better with my nonfiction, mostly thanks to you guys, because my nonfiction is meant for authors, and you guys are my ideal audience for those books. So even though I don't market them very heavily on this channel, a lot of you do find them and pick them up. So my nonfiction revenue is pretty good at $560, also a little bit higher than it was last month, or in the month of November, I should say. So all together, that's a decent bump. Obviously, I'd like to see it grow even faster, but this sort of thing, as I understand it, is a bit of a flywheel. It takes a lot of effort in the beginning, but as you go along, it gets easier and easier and grows more and more. All right. Now, I did add in here audiobook revenue, and I only have access to my report from November because Audible takes a while to report exactly what the revenue is. So I can only report on what I got in November, which was about $50. So about little less than 10% of everything that I have here. I don't have a ton of audiobooks, but I do have a few. And then I don't have anything for December yet, but I will make sure to update the spreadsheet next month when I'm doing it so we can kind of get a fair comparison. But that leads to total revenue minus expenses of $500, $70.93. It looks like less than this one, but that's just because we have the audiobooks. If I take away the audiobooks, you can see I did make $20 more this in December than I did in November. So not a huge margin. And again, this is income minus expenses. So this is taking into the account that I spent more on Amazon ads. And then once we have the audiobook revenue for December, we'll have a better fair comparison there. So as a few notes here for this month, things are starting to see some promise. I do have a lot more that I want to publish. I want to start getting into a kind of rhythm with my publishing, and that's going to depend on what I'm starting to get a sense of what I can realistically put out while also managing my other businesses. And what I want to be able to do is put out 2 flagship novels. So like I mentioned, December had 1, but I only worked half the month, so I think I could do 2. And then a smallish batch of maybe 5-6 different public domain books like I've did, and a couple, maybe 4 of those genre analyses. I could probably do that, like 1 per week, essentially. Maybe a few other things. I really like the idea of being able to repurpose content. So taking my flagship books and creating like a young readers edition or a children's book edition, or other just supplemental books that could kind of tie in. I like that idea. I don't know if it's going to be that profitable, but I do know that with AI, I can do a lot of that relatively painlessly. So that's essentially the report here. Now, the last note that I have here is that I expect to see much more success once I start publishing highly targeted books that are written to market. I currently have 2 series in the works that are very targeted with the right readers and everything. There's still stories that I have had in my mind for forever, but in doing some of the genre research that I'm doing, I have found ways to tweak them just slightly so that they work better for certain very specific genres. One is going to be an urban fantasy with a male protagonist. The other one's going to be a young adult medieval academy romantasy. That's how niche I'm getting, but I know which books are the exact match to mine. And so I have every confidence that once I start getting that dialed in to what the readers want, we're going to start seeing a lot more success with those books as they publish. And the wheels are rolling for that, but unfortunately it'll be probably 3 or 4 months before I'm able to start publishing any of that material, just because it takes time. So that's the only thing that I'm waiting for. I really do expect that my revenue will start skyrocketing once I do that, because I will know how to market those better, because they're much more written to market. So, all right, that's the money side. Now let's talk about what actually created some of these results and the lessons that I've learned over the course of 2025. Now, I'm just starting this. I've only been tracking this revenue over the last 2 months, but I've actually learned a significant amount in those 2 months, as well as a few other lessons I've learned before that. So here are the 5 big lessons. Lesson 1 is to double down on generosity. In 2025, I noticed I had drifted away from what had originally helped this channel grow, which was being kind of stupidly generous. I was holding back on YouTube a little bit more, holding back with my email list, and over-optimizing what should be free, and making things that used to be free just cost a slight amount. And, I would justify that by the fact that I was keeping out spammers, keeping out like people that aren't really interested. I wanted to get people in that were willing to fork over just a little bit at least in order to get high quality prospects. But I found that was leading to a lot of, just loss of goodwill, I think, with people. I just got this sense that I was sort of becoming the person that I hate, which is that person who's always trying to squeeze money out of you. And once I started leaning back into generosity, everything felt very better and started working better. So in 2026, I will be overcorrecting. You're going to see a lot more high value freebies in both my publishing business for my fiction readers, as well as this nerdy novelist story hacker business that you're involved in right now by watching this video. And in fact, in the description of this video, you'll find a link to some of my main prompts document that I actively use to write with AI, and that is completely free. It's one of the tools I rely on daily, and you can have it. So generosity is the long game. The more I help writers win, the more my business grows, etc. And that's what I really want. Now, lesson 2 is to go back to basics. In 2025, I tried to grow my publishing business using strategies that worked great for my story hacker business, but unfortunately, they didn't translate. And meanwhile, I wasn't even consistently profitable on Amazon yet. I was trying to overshoot that and try to make something else work. So my motto for 2026 is master the fundamentals. Amazon is basically a giant laboratory that tells you in real time what readers actually want. And if you can't get even moderately successful there, fancy strategies probably won't save you. So this year I'm focusing on dialing in my covers and blurbs and the categories that they go in, understanding my specific reader and niche, doing all of that genre research, testing, learning, adapting inside of Amazon until it's reliably profitable, at least to a minimum amount, like a couple grand a month. And then and only then will it make sense for me to layer on more advanced business practices that go outside of Amazon. And if you don't have an audience yet, or you don't know how to reach the right readers, copying those advanced tactics from bigger brands is usually a distraction. So let's go back to basics. Now, lesson 3 is to pay close attention to my intuition. There were a few strategies in 2025 that looked good on paper, but actually made me miserable in practice. And I kept trying to force them because this is what you're supposed to do, or just think of the results you could get from this. But I was really dragging myself through the work, getting close to depressed often. And the moment I gave myself permission to stop some of those things and focus on something either more effective or more enjoyable, that depressive cloud lifted quite a bit. And so far, every time I've trusted that intuition, it's been a net positive for the business. It's certainly been a net positive for my mental health. So in 2026, my rule is if a strategy chronically drains me and the data isn't clearly amazing, I'm allowed to quit it and pivot to something that aligns better with my skills, my energy, and the audience I'm working with. Now, lesson 4 is that working smarter is better than working harder, but doing both is lethal. I've had seasons where I've worked really hard on the wrong things, and I've had seasons where I've over-optimized and tried to be clever instead of just putting in the reps. And the real unlock is doing both. Working smart is choosing the right problems, like what moves the needle in my business, what actually helps writers get better and faster results. And then working hard is then attacking those few things with stupid consistency. So in 2026, I'm asking, what are the 1 to 3 activities that actually grow both my publishing business and the Story Hacker business? And then I'm going to engineer my weeks so that I'm working on those most of the time and everything else has to fight for scraps. So working smarter and harder will always be superior than just working harder or just working smarter. Lesson number 5 is to follow what lights you up on purpose. One pattern that I've noted for myself is that the stuff that genuinely interests me usually ends up being the content and offers that people respond to the most. My best-selling book right now is The Plot Module, which was entirely just something that I thought was cool, that I wanted to work on and create. And then I did, and it's now my best-selling book. And more recently, I've had this real intense interest in trying to figure out what works on a genre level, and essentially creating a plot module for each individual genre and focusing on creating the tools with AI to do analysis of different books to come to those conclusions. And those have resulted in the 3 genre analysis books that I've published so far. And there's going to be a lot more of them coming this year. And so far, the reaction to those genre books has been really good, considering they've only been out for a couple of weeks. So I'm really encouraged by that. And that's just another thing. That's just me being a nerd, right? I'm the nerdy novelist. Like, I'm just, the things that I nerd out about, it usually, when I produce something with that, usually results in something that people love. And that's partly because when I'm excited, it shows, and the ideas are better, the teaching is clearer, and people feel that energy. So I've built a simple rule for myself. Another one, which is at least 40% of what I work on has to be stuff that lights me up. That doesn't necessarily mean I ignore the boring and necessary pieces, because every business has those. It just means that I intentionally stack my week so that there's always a big chunk of work that I'm genuinely excited about. And the side effect is that I show up more consistently, create better stuff, and you get more value. So those are the 5 big lessons I'm taking from 2025 into 2026. Double down on generosity, go back to basics, listen to your intuition, combine smart work with hard work, and make sure at least 40% of my work lights me up. And if that was helpful for you and you're serious about using AI to write more books, check out the description for that free prompts document I mentioned, as well as a link to join the waiting list for my membership if you want to join that as well. We're going to be opening it up very soon. So if you join the waiting list, you'll be the first to know. But let me know in the comments, what's one lesson you're taking into 2026 as a writer? Maybe do any of the ones I mentioned resonate with you, or is there something else that you're thinking about? Anyway, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one.